Hi everyone, here's the Unit 3 test. Listen as I read each question and answer, and then choose the correct answer on your own test in Google Classroom. Question number 1. Spain risked losing its northern borderlands in the Americas in the 1760s because A. The United States was threatening to invade. B. French armies were gathering in Louisiana. C. Spain lacked the people, power, or wealth to hold its lands there. Or D. Disease was killing too many people. Feel free to pause the video if you need to think about your answer, or just continue on with the next question. Question 2. Father Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla helped start the Mexican struggle for independence with his A. Resignation speech, B. Eulogy for King Philip of Spain, C. Grito de Dolores, or D. Sermon to the Masses. Question 3. How did Tejanos react to Spain's withdrawal from East Texas? A. They felt fortunate to receive good farmland near San Antonio. B. They were unhappy that Spain made them leave their homes. C. They attacked the Spanish missions in the region. Or D. They were happy to leave the land. Question 4. How did Spanish policy regarding American Indians change during the late 1700s? A. Trade between the two groups was stopped. B. Raids on Comanche villages became more frequent. C. Spain encouraged friendly relations with the Comanches. Or D. Settlers were instructed to attack American Indians on sight. Question 5. What was the largest settlement in Texas during the Spanish period? A. Goliad, B. Nacogdoches, C. Houston, or D. San Antonio. Question 6. What major event occurred in 1821? A. Nacogdoches was founded. B. The modern boundaries of Texas were established. C. Mexico won its independence from Spain. Or D. Spain gave up all its lands in the Americas. Question 7 has a quote with it that I shall read and then ask the question. Spain should abandon all missions and presidios except for those at La Bahia and San Antonio. San Antonio should replace Los Adayes as the capital of Texas. The Spanish population in East Texas should be moved to San Antonio. The Spanish should befriend the Comanche as an ally against the Apaches. Here's the question. Who made the recommendations listed above to the Spanish government? A. Marquis de Rubi, B. José Gutiérrez de Lara, C. Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla, or D. Agustín de Iturbide. Question 8. What industry grew in Texas after Mexico won its independence? A. Manufacturing, B. Mining, C. Shipping, or D. Ranching. Okay, here's question 9. The Spanish had created missions to A. Secularize the presidios, B. Defend the northern borders of New Spain, C. Teach Christianity to the American Indians, or D. Reduce settlement. Question 10. What was Moses Austin's motivation for establishing colonies of American families in Texas? A. To regain his wealth. B. To receive accolades. C. To impress the Mexican government. Or D. To flee attacks by U.S. soldiers. Question 11. Which of the following is not one of the reasons used by Moses Austin to convince the Mexican government to support his plan? A. Austin's colony would improve the economy. B. Austin's experience with gold mines in Virginia would help him start mines in Texas. C. Austin's presence would help protect the area from attacks by American Indians or U.S. soldiers. D. Austin would be loyal to New Spain. Question 12. Settlers moved to Texas mostly A. to find cheap labor, B. for the excellent hunting, C. to avoid paying U.S. taxes, or D. because of cheap land. Okay, question 13 has lists of names, so listen carefully at each answer choice. Which of the following lists of names indicates the correct sequence, the correct order, in which individuals were given the right to bring settlers to Texas? A. Moses Austin, Stephen F. Austin, Green DeWitt. B. Green DeWitt, Martin de Leon, Stephen F. Austin. C. Stephen F. Austin, Martin de Leon, Moses Austin. Or D. Moses Austin, Green DeWitt, Stephen F. Austin. Okay, question 14. Most of the old 300 came from the United States, particularly A. the South, B. the Northeast, C. the North, or D. the Midwest. Question 15. What was Mexico's main goal when it created the impresario system? A. to make impresarios rich, B. to provide privileges to Tejanos, C. to bring settlers to Texas, D. to create a trade center. Question 16. Who was the only impresario to found a Texas colony of primarily Mexican settlers? A. Arthur G. Wavell, B. Martin de Leon, C. Stephen F. Austin, or D. Lorenzo de Zavala. Question 17. Businessmen who brought settlers into Texas were called A. Impresarios, B. Conquistadores, C. Filibusters, or D. Diplomats. Question 18. English-speaking settlers that came from the United States were called A. Tejanos, B. Anglos, C. Impresarios, or D. Filibusters. Question 19. A region marking the farthest edge of settlement by a country, the end of the populated area. A. Militia, B. Buffer, C. Frontier, D. Revolution. Okay, question 20 has a graph with it. Okay, the title of the graph is Texas Population Growth, 1783 through 1836. Along the left side of the graph, you have population in thousands. Along the bottom of the graph, you have year. Question 20. What year on this graph reflects the influence of the impresario system in Texas? A. 1783, B. 1809, C. 1821, or D. 1834. Okay, this test only has 20 questions. Feel free to pause and go back and check your answers using the video as much as you need before you turn it in. But don't forget to be sure that you hit submit at the bottom of the test so that it's turned in. Go do a good job and get the best grade you possibly can. See you later.